Wow. This is it.
We're here, season two. It's
This
real.
is it. Everybody, welcome to season 2 of the Wade in the Water live show. It's your boy, Weldon, live and direct from Bermuda.
And Jessica, all the way from Texas.
Wow. How's your, first of all, thank you to everybody for tuning in to our weekly live. We're going to be doing this every Wednesday night right here, same time, same place, 8:30 Bermuda time, 6:30 p.m. Texas time for the next 10 weeks. Just super excited to be back at it. Just like we never left, right? I don't know. How you feel? How do you feel about this, Jess?
I'm
Hanging out with us.
excited.
It's official,
It's
right?
official. It's official. We've got co-hosts. We had
Nice.
two super fun special editions prior to this. So if you
I
guys
know.
were tuned into that, but if not, we're so happy to have you here today. Season two. So
Indeed,
it's gonna be
indeed.
fun.
Just shout out to our viewership. If you guys are watching this live, thank you so much. Salute to you guys that have been tuned in from the beginning. Can't not mention JD, Magic, Fred, Andrew, Chris Gauntlet jumped on, Mark Deal jumped on. These are all local ocean rock stars that have supported the show from the beginning. But speaking of support, we wouldn't really be doing this as effectively as we have without the sponsorship and support of Tele Bermuda International and certainly Blue Wave, and now we've got the support of Atlantic Mooring Maintenance Limited, Uber Vita, and Current Vehicles. So yeah, we're kind of taking things up a little notch over here, you know. And shout out to StreamYard. I gotta get you one of these StreamYard hoodies, Jess. They hooked a brother up with the
Ooh,
StreamYard hoodie and the
nice.
StreamYard mug. So I
Look at all
just
that
got
swag.
it's water in this, guys. It's water.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
How's your week been, Jess?
It has been good. I'm so excited. So, a week ago, we were here and we had a very fun special edition. We were myth busting last week. And so, I'm super excited to start off season one. For all of those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Lee. And oh my gosh, season one, season two, ignore me. My name is Jessica Lee, and I am a PADI scuba diver instructor. I've been diving for 18 years. I've got my degree in marine biology. I was a researcher for a while, and now I'm here talking with you guys about all things ocean, scuba, and conservation. And Weldon has got some fun stuff in store for us today. We've got some good stuff
I
to
don't
talk
know.
about.
You know, I stood up this StreamYard live probably like 15 minutes ago. I was out on the town at Hamilton Princess having a meeting, and then I was like, it's after 8 o'clock. I have a live show at the bottom of the hour. I think I need to go. But fortunately, part of doing these shows, and there are a couple other live shows that are happen here in Bermuda that are very well done. And if you happen to participate in those shows or even host your own show, yeah, there's a bit of process and prep you got to do. Speaking of prep, a good friend of mine, and my haters have arrived. For those of you that follow me on social, my buddy like drawing things on me and doing all kinds of crazy things. I got a couple people that are like, bro, what's up with the picture you used for your season 2 artwork? And I'm just like, what do you mean? So I think right off the bat, yeah, I'm gonna be switching up my picture, Jess. I think that's what I was told tonight.
So you got to raise the bar, man. You gotta
I
you gotta.
know, cause like you're grimacing or something. Like, what's going on? So I'll be switching that up.
Aw,
But
don't
um,
don't listen to him. Haters gonna hate.
I don't know. So, guys, if we're good on audio, we're good on video, give us a thumbs up in the comments. Let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. And certainly, if you have any questions for Jessica about diving, anything ocean, conservation, sustainability, sorry, innovation, that's what we're here for. We're here to engage with you guys, have a conversation with you guys. And that kind of goes back to like the why. Jessica and I have had a couple of conversations, well, more than two. I'd say a few conversations about like, why do we do this? Why do we take time out of our schedule to bring you the show? Where we committed for 10 weeks last fall, and we're committing to you guys for another 10 weeks going forward from today, January 12th, to be exact. And it's like, yeah, we want to share what we know, educate the community, and by being on YouTube and Facebook, on her page, on Jessica's page, and on my page, and on YouTube and other destinations going forward, it's really about getting our message far and wide and just building community, bringing people together to learn about all kinds of cool things. So, Kayla, thank you so much for jumping on the live. Welcome to the Wade in the Water live show. We get to have you on deck. Um, we do have a topic tonight.
Yes.
And if we don't have any questions before we get into our topic, we can jump right in. But seaweed and shipwrecks. So when you hear seaweed, what do you think about? Well, like what comes to your mind when you think about seaweed? What is that stuff?
Well, you have a couple options. So when you think about seaweed, there's traditional what you think of the beautiful like kelp forest with the big seaweed coming all the way from the floor bottom all the way up. But then here in Texas and there in Bermuda, that's not what we have. We have something. The first thing that pops to my mind is sargassum. So while sargassum isn't technically seaweed, a lot of people call it seaweed, and it is this beautiful golden plant
Mm,
material, and it washes up on shore where we live, and there's a whole bunch of life that lives underneath it. Whenever I was a researcher, I actually got to study the animals that live underneath it that use it as a habitat. So I have a little bit different view than some people whenever I think about it. Some people love it, some people don't. But yeah, that's one of the first things that come to mind. And
okay.
flying fish for sure. Love it.
Yeah, yeah, so I think what's important is what's interesting about doing these live shows is that we really don't know where our viewership is watching from, and it's a bit quiet here, despite over 100 people watching the live. It'll be great to get a little bit more engagement from you guys because I know not everyone tuned in is in Bermuda or from Bermuda, where we know of and see often seaweed or sargassum, and in fact, Bermuda is in the Sargasso Sea. But so what I want to do, Jess, is make an assumption that most people in the room. Let me try to bring up some data here. But yeah, most people in the room um, are probably from Bermuda. Yeah, is that a safe assumption? Probably. I see Egypt's on the live, Nesta's on the live. I can kind of see where you guys are tuning in from. But what I want to do is enlighten our viewership on sargassum in the Gulf, your backyard. So does this golden rainforest wash up on your shores as well?
Oh
Does it
yeah.
like okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So the Sargasso Sea is located where Weldon is, so it's out in the
Yeah,
Atlantic.
we'll bring up some stuff. Like I got some stuff
Yeah,
ready,
yeah.
but
We'll get some. But it's really neat because of the currents and the way that the ocean moves, it makes its way down and through the Caribbean and up into the Gulf of Mexico, which is my backyard here in Texas. So I live on the Gulf Coast of Texas. I'm right in the Galveston, Houston area, and so every summer we have large amounts of sargassum washed up on our beaches, and that is it's a habitat for all sorts of critters whenever it's in the water, and it's habitat for all sorts of critters whenever it is on land as well. So it's very very cool.
that's cool. I think when we were talking about what you know season two, episode one's topic was going to be. I was like, it's great to touch on sargassum. Right now, like there's a lot going on in the space with respect to the humpback whale migration, and a lot of things around plastic pollution and seaweed and how all that plays into each other. But what I wanted to let our viewership understand is that this golden rainforest that we're talking about, this floating habitat for these critters, actually has its own commission. So I'm going to share my screen and just bring up the website because what I want to do is just I don't want to do a deep like dive into biology side of things, but if you guys are taking notes, and I don't mind if you do, there's one website that I think brings a lot of why we feel seaweed and sargassum is important. Really, it just hits the nail on the head. So let me try to bring this up, see how this looks. So here we go. Let me get rid of the title and see what this does. Boom. All right. So this is the website of the Sargasso Sea Commission, and shout out to all of the serving members of this particular entity. Like Jessica said, Bermuda is sort of smack on the west end of this Sargasso Sea, this body of water that's been designated as the Sargasso Sea. We've got Sargasso Sea commissioners. I work with Dr. Tammy Warren. Um, with the Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Program that I work with. So we engage all the time. Um, and Faye Batsford, who happens to be Sargasso Girl on Instagram. I'd love to bring up her account as well when I get a moment. Is just super passionate about this Sargasso Sea. So as you can see, right, we're talking about a commission being formed of ocean heroes in the space. Um, we've got the management and protection of the Sargasso Sea, bunch of really amazing news. These commissions on Facebook and Instagram, all across social, and they've just launched an app as well. So, if I wanted to learn more about the Sargasso Sea and certainly about the work of the Sargasso Sea Commission, please hit up. You can see it right there, Sargasso Sea Commission .org. And what I'll do is I'll bring up Faye's Instagram. Let's click on these guys. Let me see what happens when I click on this thing real quick. Just bring up this. Boom. Does this work? I didn't preload this piece, but yeah, all kinds of things. And one of the topics we're gonna have quite soon is gonna be the kaha. Um, just quickly about the kaha, since it's the first title that we see on their Instagram feed. This kaha, this bird, this Bermuda petrel is what's called a Lazarus species. In fact, what happened was, as the story goes, in 1609, when Bermuda was first sort of um, colonized, essentially, when the Sea Venture wrecked right off where the St. Regis is now. The island was abundant with food. We had wild hogs and we had these kaha, and we actually ate these birds to extinction. And they're called a Lazarus species because in the 50s, a couple of mating pairs were discovered off of some islands in Castle Harbor here in Bermuda. And right now, there's many mating pairs, but pretty a phenomenal story. I think one, if not the rarest seabird on the planet. And here we have Dr. Warren, Andrew Stevenson, Dr. Philippe Ruja, and that's Faye, the Sargasso girl. I love her handle. She's just super, super passionate about sargassum and all the critters within. She has a wonderful Instagram page, which I encourage you guys to follow. But certainly, um, while many of us may, when we think of seaweed here on the island, it's the dry, crispy, smelly, lifeless mass that's on our beaches. And oftentimes it accumulates so much that we can't swim on our beaches, like the sand has been replaced with seaweed. And where our Bermuda government parks department are able to get tractors, they will rake the seaweed, out of the way. But not all of our beaches are accessible. With tractors, you can't get tractors, for example, down at Church Bay. So the seaweed just sits there, and it kind of the sun dries it out, things die, um, and you get the sea flies, and it's kind of gnarly. But when this mass of seaweed is in the deep ocean, it's habitat for all kinds of really amazing critters. Lots of juvenile life, certainly seahorses, baby turtles, um, sargassum crabs, and fish, and maybe baby sharks. I don't know. But certainly when we find a seaweed that's inshore and on our platform, and let's say we're just on the north platform here, and we're just maybe on a boat, maybe half a mile or a mile out, and we find some sargassum and we pick it up and shake it out into a bucket. We may not find that much life inside of it because once it reaches shallow water, you find the reef fish will swim up from the reef and predate on anything that's living inside of the seaweed. So if you go out into deep ocean, a couple miles off the south shore, and you find a swath of seaweed, sargassum floating around, I guarantee you pick it up, shake it out, you'll find crabs and shrimps and all kinds of really cool critters falling out of it. So just checking out the comments here. Boom, we got sargassum fish, all the gnarliest little things. Where's these are? Is that it, JD? This is it here, isn't it? This is the sargassum fish. So Faye is certainly the rock star when it comes to her presence on social and bringing a lot of these critters to light. But JP Ruja from Look Bermuda is wears a couple of hats. He's like the non such Kahal camera guy. He manages Look Productions, Look Bermuda, and him and Dr. David, is it Lichtschwager? Did some wonderful work of photographing a lot of these cool critters. We've got the critter, and then with a white background, he's got or black background like they shot. Just really, really cool images of all these things. So the Bermuda airport has numerous pictures. At least the old one did, JD. I know the old one had sargassum, big, huge pictures all around. I don't know if that exists now, but certainly nudibranch and the sargassum fish, just super, super dope. And before I move on, shout out to Mark Rodriguez who gave us our new season 2 intro. Yeah. We're going to tweak all that, but it was wonderful. I didn't want to go too far into the broadcast without shouting out Mark. Mark, salute. Thank you so much for the intro. We're going to make it longer and throw more stuff in there, I think. But that's a nice way to kick off the show for sure. So thanks, Mark. Jess, you seen all these critters before?
Oh yeah. So I love this because it's bringing back a lot of really good memories. So we've got billfish right here.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
and
you
the
can't.
leptocephali, so that was a little bit further down. So that is the larval eel, the eel larvae, and they're super cool. And we would find tons of them. So were pulling nets out in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just so neat. And I love that we're talking about shipwrecks and sargassum today,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
seaweed, because they're both things that have like this commonality between Texas and Bermuda. And it's really cool whenever you think like on a global scale of like how much we're connected. So, I mean, me and you are miles and miles, like thousands of miles away from each other, right? But the things that are happening right outside of your island are affecting me and the people that I live with here in Texas, all of these miles away. So, and we have a lot of these same critters because they utilize us as habitat. So it's it I love it. I think it's really exciting. But yeah, there's all sorts of really cool critters. The filefish that live under the sargassum are really cool. They have like neat camouflage that helps them blend in with the sargassum, and it's
I
just
know it's so cute.
amazing
I
how
love
much
that
life.
freaking game.
Yeah, look at that
I was like, why aren't I clicking on this?
little hitchhiker.
Is he eating him though? I hope not. I hope he's hitchhiking. What does the caption say? Swimming
Yeah, I think he's
Oh
having a little
no!
snack. He's having a little
Oh
snack.
no!
Little fish sticks for lunch, you know.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Shout out
It's
to
nature.
Monica that's on the
Nature.
live. Drop a comment in the live, Monica. Are you back? Sorry, Jess. Sorry to segue, but I just got a direct message here from Polish girl in Bermuda, the wonderful Miss Monica.
Awesome.
Now, Monica and Rafael were in Tulum, Mexico, most recently doing a bunch of free diving, getting the entire local free diving community quite jealous from of all their wonderful photographs. Cenote diving down there in Mexico. So I hope to be back in Playa, Tulum, Playa, and yeah, Cancun, Playa, go down to Tulum, come back to Playa, go over to Cozumel, and come back. Used to be my old stomping ground down there. I can't wait to get back down there. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Um, and what's great is being aware that there's more to seaweed than it just being seaweed. And I know a lot of Bermudians will use the washed up sargassum as fertilizer.
It's
Um,
great.
it
It's
is great
fantastic.
fertilizer.
It's great for fertilizer, but it's also great for our beaches. So you were talking about how you have tractors that are raking your beaches. We have that here as well. So we get
Okay.
large quantities certain times of the year where it washes up on our beaches, and so they'll use bulldozers to kind of push it further back, and then it gets into the dune line, and so then
Ah.
so since it has all of the little fingers and all the little parts, it helps grab onto the sand, and so that way, especially here, so in Texas, we have dunes, so there are these beautiful kind of rolling hills of sand, and I know not everywhere that has ocean has natural dunes, but it's really important because it nourishes, whenever the sargassum breaks down, it also will It'll help add nutrients back into the sand.
Okay.
And it also helps the sand build up into these healthy dunes because they get knocked down by hurricanes and strong storms. So that is, yeah, it's fantastic. But during high seasons of it, people can be a little annoyed because it does, just like you were talking about,
Mm,
it does take up a lot of the beach. And sometimes it, depending on if little critters were in there whenever they washed up, sometimes it's a little stinky,
yeah.
depending on which way the wind's blowing.
I
But it's
know, and I
super
could, yeah,
important. I think it
yeah,
helps
you
to
can.
know that it's a good thing, not just like a nuisance. I think it's important to know, like, oh, hey, it's like it's doing a good thing, even though maybe this isn't the most convenient thing for me. But overall, this is a good thing. This is a very good thing.
Yeah, and it's like you don't know what you don't know, right? And I know, for the most part, or at least around here, among my peers, it tends to be, yeah, more of a, oh my god, like, it's seaweed on the
It
beach,
touched me.
yeah, yeah, especially, when it's in the break, at John Smith's Bay, for example, which, JD Magic and I will take you to be one of the first places we dive. When it's right in the break, it's about 20 feet of it, and you can't see the bottom, and it's touching you and stuff. You like can't see like what's all tangled up in it. So it can be a little gnarly, but it is what it is. Shout out to Sargasso Girl. I've got Sargasso Girl's Instagram page just up on the screen, front and center. Faye, thank you so much for all the work that you do. And Faye is also a Marine Research Fellow for the Commission, the website we were just looking at. Lots of content here, right? So if you guys have a sec, look up Sargasso Girl, give her a follow, send her a message. But what's really great is Faye also creates stickers of these cool critters as well. I've got a sticker pack somewhere here. I'm kind of packing my office up a little bit. But cool stickers that you can order from Etsy. Um, Lots of cool content about the car house, about humpbacks, banded coral shrimp. But what I want to find is something I was looking up earlier. Where's like the infographic she's created in the carousels is just so cool. It's so much information. Where's the thing I saw earlier? Let's look at these Sargassum crab real quick because these guys are pretty cool. Sometimes I'd find these guys in debris. I did a live just recently on, Cooper's Island, and I found an old case, like I don't know what you call it, but the keg of deodorant. And I was gonna throw it in the bin, but then when I turned it over, there were three, sargassum crabs in the deodorant, plastic deodorant container, and I managed to get them out and put them near some seaweed, so hopefully they wouldn't get like eaten. Um, but yeah, I see these guys a lot. Um, I think this is one of them. Yeah, the Sargassum nudibranch. So Faye does an excellent job at doing a deep dive into all these little critters and providing some really valuable, detail. Might be a bit too much detail for some, but for those that are interested in this subject, you can spend, hours, going through, the content of the Sargasso Sea Commission and, the wonderful work that Faye is doing, and others. There are other people in the ocean space that are doing a wonderful job at sort of sharing what we know. And one of the things we Jessica and I, certainly recognize is some of the stuff we might, find as normal. Like it's normal to swim at night. It's normal to dive on scuba. It's normal to hold your breath for 2.5, 3.5 minutes. It's normal to dive with pelagics and whale sharks in, whale shark print bodysuits. Some of us do.
Some of us
Whereas,
do.
yeah, some of us do. I don't know. Maybe it's possible, but
Might
but
become like a mandatory outfit.
we'll see. We'll see. Let me do this real quick. Let me stop sharing that. Yeah. So it's a matter of like this is a lifestyle for Jessica and I, you guys, and and I don't know about you, Jess, but for me sometimes I get caught up in things, right? JD, you can speak to this as well, right? Like you're in the space, you're doing it all the time. It's not really work. It's not a hobby. It's a little bit of a weird mix and matchup of passion, love, job, career, and then you just think, yeah, this is just what we do. But recognizing that what 9 out of 10 people, 90%, everybody else basically that doesn't do what we do, kind of, has no idea, what all this stuff is and the joys that lie beneath the surface of the ocean. Is not until you put your eyes underwater do you see what lies below. And most of the time, it's really really cool stuff. And if you're not finding cool critters like sargassum critters or fish, turtles, and vertebrates, you're finding treasure.
Like maybe on a sunken shipwreck.
Maybe you're finding treasure on a sunken shipwreck. Um, but if anyone has any questions, that was a great segue.
That was a
Great
great
segue.
segue.
Yeah, great segue. Like, I mean, let's soak in, let's marinate in that for a second. Just bask in that for a minute. Like,
But yeah,
um,
what Weldon was saying is so right. I mean,
uh,
whenever it comes to this, like being a lifestyle, and especially whenever it's something that you love and it's something that you've spent a lot of time studying or a lot of time immersing yourself in, it can become something that's kind of like second nature. And that's why I think this show is super fun because we get to share it with people who maybe this isn't your everyday, maybe this isn't your day in, day out, but you can still learn something about it, or still get to see cool stuff that we get to see, and it's so much more fun when we share it with other people. So we're really glad that you're here and you get to look at all these cool critters with us and some awesome sunken shipwrecks.
yeah.
So
So
Weldon, you live in the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic. Tell us a little
this
bit
is
more.
this is
Let us know about that.
I don't know. I mean, we talked about the Bermuda Triangle in our MythBusters segment, and which was fun. It is real. A friend of mine, not a really like a good friend, but more like a one of those uncles that's kind of not blood related. But your boy went missing last week, and I don't know what happened to your boy. He is just sailing across and he's gone. So maybe he'll reappear. I don't know, but the triangle's pretty real. Um, but that aside, missing persons and missing people in the triangle and all the mist that surround that, Bermuda is the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic. Why? Because we have hundreds of shipwrecks that are lining our outer reef and inside here on our platform. Now, in doing research for this show, certainly it's not about doing a deep dive, no pun intended, on a particular shipwreck or a group of particular shipwrecks, but it's like, where would I send someone? What online resource is out there that's the most comprehensive, insightful, descriptive, dope website out there that exists that talks all about Bermuda shipwrecks? And I happened to find one that was originally created around 2016, 2017 by some familiar names and faces in the ocean space. I already mentioned JP Ruja of Look Bermuda and Non Such, and I also mentioned Dr. Philippe Ruja as well, with the Sargasso Sea Commission and other entities. There's a project called the Bermuda 100 that was a project involving numerous entities to do more than just catalog and index 100 wrecks in Bermuda, 100 of the 300 or so that are around here, but use some really cool technology like side scan sonar and photogrammetry to bring these shipwrecks to virtual life, really, where
Oh, cool.
I mean, where we can viewers can immerse themselves around the wreck without necessarily getting their gills wet. So before I share that, I just want to jump into the comments again. JD, thank you so much for joining us on the show. JD shares, new people are just super excited, and we are just kind of, yeah, this is just a normal thing and happens all the time.
That's why it's great to make sure that you're always sharing this with other people, because then you don't accidentally, like, it's super easy to be like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's pretty cool. But whenever you're around other people that don't have the opportunity to see it all the time, it reminds you like, no, this is really fantastic. And I'm really lucky that I get to see this type of stuff all the time. Or,
It is indeed a blessing and a privilege, and it's always
mhm.
important to keep that front of mind. I know, as soon as I tell people, I swim at night, that sets off, red flag. They're like, red flag. Yeah, this guy is crazy. Or, yeah, man, I dived on, and there's like, how deep you dive, how long can you dive, and like, man, you swim with sharks? Sure, like I'll pay to go to Bimini and swim with hammerheads. Red flag. I've lost some pretty cool like relationships, like some of those first impression, elevator speech or just meeting somebody for the first time, and they're like, what do you do? What do you do for fun? Do you play football, cricket, rugby, tennis? I'm like, my family is known to be cricketers and football players and sportsmen. I dive at night and I swim with sharks. They're like, red flag. Nope, nope. They start to question. They're like, "You Bermudian?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm Bermudian. What's wrong with you?" This isn't just. It's not a sport that's reserved, or is not a form of recreational sport, because there's that line, right? Some people, I think maybe most, look at scuba diving and free diving and snorkeling and all this ocean play as a hobby or some a form of recreation, where certainly just those in academia and the marine science and biology field, and then being a PADI professional, diving instructor, and explorers and educators and innovators and whatnot. Like, it's more than that. It's a career. um and that's what makes it so dope. We're surrounded by the ocean. The planet is more ocean than Earth. Big blue planet. So much to see, so much to explore, so much that's hasn't been uncovered yet. It's amazing. It's a beautiful place, and it's not reserved for any particular group of people. And JD can probably. I think we touched on this season one when JD was on deck about how the ocean play, professional or for recreation, tends to be thought of, yeah, that's reserved for a certain class of people, certain race of people, certain gender of people. And it's like, now, boss, it's open season out here.
Yep.
It's really about um recognizing that many of those barriers are just in your mind and artificial. Not all of them. Some barriers are financial. You have to pay to play. You have to know certain people to get into certain circles. But at the end of the day, it just takes you to make that decision. And it usually starts with getting in the water in the first place, and then finding your passion, whatever that may be, and pursuing that passion. And I know Egypt was on the live, and I see Jess is on. Hi, Jess. Well, another Jess Curly. JD, Rafal's on her. Oh, it's official. Egypt. So Egypt and I've known Egypt for quite a while. Last time I remember seeing Egypt was at the aquarium inside one of the tanks, uh, doing some cool stuff, cleaning the tank or feeding some fish. It was wonderful to see her there, and it's wonderful to see you on the live too, Egypt. Oh yeah, there she is. She's here. But yeah, Egypt, it'll be wonderful to have your feedback on what it's like to be a young Bermudian woman in the ocean space in a very special way, right? I know you as an aquarist at BZS, you and Nesta. But you're there surrounded by other ocean rock stars like Choi and Dr. Alex and Camilla and Grassy and Dr. Walker, obviously, he's the Dr. Ian Walker's the curator there. Robbie, I could go on and on and on. And sorry, Jess, I went on a little tangent. Rake it in, rake it in. Shipwreck capital of the Atlantic, Bermuda 100.ucsd.edu. Let's get it up. Guys, welcome to the live show, the Wade in the Water live show, season 2, episode 1. Topic: seaweed and shipwrecks. Let me just get rid. Jess, can you get rid of the banner?
Let me do that.
Jessica's gonna drive tonight because so tonight's topics.
There we go.
Hey,
Look, mono hands.
guys, we leveled up on her. We went into StreamYard, set up a team, brought Jessica on deck as an admin, and Jessica can totally drive. Guys,
watch out, might go power crazy.
Oh boy, let me watch out. So this what I talked about maybe 5 minutes ago now, Bermuda 100, documenting using innovation to document and virtualize Bermuda shipwrecks, has met many. I'm not sure if they did 100, but many. So real quick, shout out to everyone that pulled this website together. The mission of this project aim to create a comprehensive digital atlas representing the broad range and beauty of underwater sites surrounding Bermuda, from historic shipwrecks to marine habitats. Numerous wreck sites. Let's just check out the airplane, just first on the list. So what this site will provide you is with details, the story, essentially, And the reason I bring this up is because some of the people on the live, shout out to again Rafal and Monica, who I think are still tuned in. We had a wonderful experience diving this wreck last year, I believe. Crystal clear conditions. Dowdy took us out. We were with Ashley K, bunch of friends, and we checked it out. It was really really cool. Check out my stuff on social for the. I think I
That was
posted
those photos were beautiful. It looked like
some stuff.
amazing conditions.
Yeah,
I was like, "Ooh, that's it's on my list. It's on my list of places when I come to Bermuda to go to."
we're gonna check it
It's
out, and
fantastic.
like
Oh,
there's
and
no
it's got the
growth.
location there, so then that way, if
Yep,
you got the coordinates,
yep. Coordinates, the current condition,
the
the
depth,
stats.
that's
Where's the depth
fantastic.
to 21 to 25? That sounds about so totally free diveable. Um, like that's all we did that day. I don't remember Monica. It was probably because Rachel was with us as well. Shout out to Rachel Sorden. Salute. What, like 10 of us were out there? Easily free diveable. And what I think it explains here. Yeah, it tells the whole story, but with the fuselage, it's still shiny, and this should explain why. And I don't want to get this wrong, but it's aluminum, and the algae and barnacles. Right there, it is. Is it? Yeah, on the craft. Yeah, there it is, guys. The airplane site is also notable because very little traditional marine life has grown on the wreckage because the plane's exterior was made with aluminum. So it's super shiny, which is a little bit weird because you're like, this thing's crashed a long time ago. Why isn't things growing on it? Well, aluminum's just they can't really stick. But what's great is you've got these interactive 3D models, and I'm hoping this comes up well over the StreamYard feed. But is using photogrammetry, which back in 2017, was like it was a
Oh wow,
technology that I perceived as being like what do you call something that's like it's just there's out of reach to the typical person? Like it just seemed like something that you needed, all
it's
kinds
like
of
very exclusive.
yeah, like you needed some fancy business to get into. Well,
Oh wow,
now I think that it's a lot more accessible. You just need, hundreds, if not thousands, of photographs to toss into um a server to crunch all the data and you get these 3D interactive maps, this photogrammetry business. I know Joshua Dirks, who's a local diver here, he's dabbling into photogrammetry. Jade, let me jump into the comments real quick. So Rafal says, "Hey Rafal, miss you guys." Now Monica said yes in my on my phone. I don't know what it was. I asked, "Are you back in Bermuda or are you still in Mexico?" Um, I don't know where you guys are at. Miss you guys. Um, I don't know. I love me a little Rita. We're gonna bring up the Rita. Don't worry. Um, the Rita. Rita. I'm thinking of the Kate. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Getting the ladies mixed up. Yeah, but Bermuda 100. This is, and the thing is, I'm not even sure too many local divers, especially if you're well, whether or not you're new to the scene. For whatever reason, Bermuda 100 is just not like advertised much.
that is
But
so cool,
it's
especially when it comes to like planning your dives. Whether you're just going for a snorkel or you're free diving or you're scuba diving, that's amazing to be able to see it in 3D and be like, okay, so if I'm planning where I want to go, like I can see exactly what it's going to look like, and I have an idea. Because sometimes when you're looking at flat maps, it you don't get like the full picture of what it is that you're about to be immersed around.
right,
So
right,
that's
for
really
sure.
cool. That's such a neat tool that you guys have. That's wonderful.
Just want to let this soak for a bit, and I'll actually read some of it out. So the genesis of the Bermuda 100 is that the challenge grew out of an expedition in June 2011 when CISA 3 Special Projects Coordinator Dominique Risolo, then an archaeologist and executive director of the Wait Institute. Shout out to the Wade Institute, which happens to be one of the founding partners of the Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Program that I work with daily. Participated in a 7-day expedition to excavate a small section of the interior of the Mary Celestia's bow, which had recently been unearthed following a major storm. A team of local and international divers led by Dr. Philippe Rouja and James Delgado conducted an archaeological excavation of the small section of the interior of the bow of the ship. During the 7-day excavation, the team uncovered and rescued a small cache of hidden artifacts, including a ship's taffrail log, a hairbrush, shoes, an intact bottle of wine, cologne, and perfume bottles. The cologne and the perfume bottles, like the wine, contained a visible air pocket above the liquid inside, suggesting that the contents had possibly remained uncontaminated over the intervening 150 years underwater.
Wow, that's
Now,
fantastic.
so the Mary, and this just unearths a really, really powerful story. And while I elaborate, I want to bring up the Mary. Help me find this thing. The Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste. Here we go. So shout out again. Gotta give credit where it's due. JP Rouge, Dr. Philippe Rouge, and the whole team that made all this work possible. But certainly the story of the Mary Celeste goes beyond that because they managed to open. It's a long story to it, but what they found, they did ultimately open the wine bottle. Somebody tasted the wine, and they ultimately did open the perfume bottle. And the wonderful team at Lily Bermuda actually reconstituted the perfume and reproduced it. And I have a bottle inside in my sort of little shipwreck shrine that I have that I've never talked about before. But in my dining room in the corner, there's a bit of a shipwreck shrine, and it was a limited edition of this bottle. Um, but let's go at so this Mary Celestia page tells you the story of it all, the current condition, right off Fairmont, Southampton, where Dive Bermuda is. So there's a dive shop that's right on the beach at Fairmont, Southampton. Shout out to Mark Deal and the wonderful team at Dive Bermuda. And short ride, shortest ride ever. Just like you might as well, as soon as Captain Hines leaves the bay, you might as well start like kidding up because the Mary Celeste is
Nice.
just that freaking close.
That's
And and
wonderful.
and access, because we talked about this, when JD Magic and I make our trip to Texas to dive with you, you mentioned quite a trip to get from the dock to the dive
Yeah,
site.
and when we talk about our wrecks here, it's a little bit different story for us.
Yeah. Well, for my Bermuda divers in the room, or those of you on the live that are familiar with Bermuda diving, especially leaving from uh, Dive Bermuda at Fairmont, Southampton, the trips can be short. So if you're into a nice 40-minute boat ride, you may not want to go to that particular shop because the trips are super short. Like y'all like, yeah, I'm gonna get a nice sightsee and kind of sip my coffee and enjoy the ride.
That's for the surface interval in between dives. That way you get to be up on the boat and
Hey,
you get that short commute, you get more diving in. It's fantastic.
I don't know. I think there's pros and cons to both, and shout out to all the local dive shops. But certainly, I think, um, yeah, I think narcosis can get from the shop to the Mary in about 5 minutes. Um, but certainly, I do miss my outings with Blue Water Divers from Somerset Bridge. It's a nice trip. It's a nice trip around, and then it also opens up access to those Western wrecks and the Northwest wrecks as well, which are quite nice too. So Magic says, "Imagine take." Do you put that up? You want to put that up, Jess?
Yeah.
With Jessica go to work tonight. You want to read that out while I look at something real quick?
Yeah. So imagine taking a sip from that bottle like the day we after the beach cleanup at Grotto Bay. I would love to try some of that wine. I have no idea if well, because they do that on purpose. There's some places in the Mediterranean where they will put like the bottles underwater and they put them down. I can't remember if it's the bottles or if it's actual like casks of wine, but they put them down under like in the ocean for extended periods of time, and like that's part of like their aging process. And then they bring like you can
Um,
sign up to like go and dive and like go get your own, and then that's your bottle.
oh.
They're not 150 years old like this wreck is, but it's a
Yeah,
pretty
that's a
cool
little
premise.
while.
I would like to try that someday. I don't think they're gonna let me break open the bottle 150-year-old wine, but but maybe we can go to the Med and go get our own bottles.
Maybe. Guys, I encourage you to you see the link there. Check it out. I could spend hours just going through all the information here. And like Jessica said earlier, as a diver, whether or not you have a guide or not, and certainly if you're going out with one of the local dive shops, you will have a guide, and they will share the story of the wreck. And typically, the two tank dive includes a wreck and a reef. That's what you get out of the deal. Um, but it's really great to go there with your own knowledge and research as well. Now, JD mentioned the Rita. Where's the Rita? Is this in
It's on the
alphabetical order?
bottom of the fourth column.
There we go. And yeah, the bow of the Mary, that's where a storm washed away a lot of sand. Basically, like nature excavated the thing, and everyone got involved to see what was revealed. Um, let's go down here. It's the story, the current condition, stats.
That is so cool. I would
Got
love
some.
to have this much information on all like different wrecks and different dive sites. That is, you guys are very lucky to have a resource like this. This is fantastic.
Now, what's interesting is certainly a database like this. It's still, I can tell already it's missing some bits and pieces. So I wonder if there is continuity with this project where people like Jessica and Weldon and Magic and JD and Monica and Rafael can and Egypt and Nesta can form a team and help fill in some of these blanks, because it'll be great to take out some stuff and
That'd be,
and
how
do some
fun would that be
3D.
to say like I got to help with something like a project like this? That would be pretty darn cool.
Yeah, so we're just finding a little gaps. I might have to call Dr. Ruja and see what's happening.
So what's neat is you were talking about how a hurricane had uncovered this wreck. Here in the Gulf, we actually had one. So a lot of the wrecks that we dive, anyways, are not shipwrecks in the they sank accidentally. A lot of them are wrecks, but they are artificial reefs. So they were cleaned
Okay.
up and they were sunk on purpose for diving purposes and for reef building purposes. But we had one that happened back, I think it was 2018, 2019. It's not diveable, but it was this really cool 200-year-old wreck that was discovered in the Gulf of
Mhm.
Mexico, and it was really exciting because um, that's it's not every day you get to like find a brand new wreck, and that was an actual real wreck. So that was really really cool. Here we're lucky. We have the Texas Clipper, which is down in Corpus Christi, and we have the Kraken, which is out from the Freeport Galveston area. It's a little ways offshore. It's a little bit more than a 5-minute boat ride to get to the Kraken. It's a couple hours,
Couple
but
hours.
yeah,
Wow.
man, that's what diving the Gulf is. You're complaining about too short of a boat ride. Like, don't you worry, buddy. We'll get you
I
some nice
wasn't
long boat
I
ride.
wasn't complaining, like, but
Don't know
it's
how
like
good he
sometimes
has
you want a
it.
nice little ride, but like a couple hours, that's a journey. I mean,
You
yeah,
have to be
and go ahead. I don't
committed.
cut you off.
And the Clipper isn't that far, but from here it's a couple-hour drive on land to get down to Corpus Christi. But if you're already in the Corpus Christi area, South Padre area, excuse me,
Okay.
it's a beautiful wreck too. But yeah, there's all sorts of, we can pull up later when we go into a deep dive into shipwrecks. We can pull up some cool ROV footage from that mystery 200-year-old wreck in the Gulf. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, we'll do that, and certainly, with 9 episodes left in season one, we can certainly dedicate a live to specific shipwrecks. I'd love that. What I'd love to share with everyone here tonight as well is what's really, and I think I might have shown this before, is these maps are branded as Franco's. I don't know who he is, but I know when I was in Cozumel, I found these Franco's branded dive maps, and I remember picking up one in Cozumel. But then when I came to back to Bermuda, I went to Brown and Co., which is a retail store here on well, it's really on Front Street and Reed Street. Brown and Co. had these same maps for sale, and my idea was to get this and put it on foam core and put pins on all the wrecks that I
Yes.
dove. But it's double sided. So I just want to share with you guys real quick this map, and they may be still available at Brown and Co. Um, which side do I want to? Yeah. So I mean, this. Where's the camera? Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's
that looks good.
so it's just like a map
Oh
of
wow.
Bermuda
Oh,
with
that's fantastic.
super details of no, I can't quite see what's going on here. Yeah, I think I'd say all the prominent wrecks, and I'm gonna just turn it around. You kind of seen it. Let me just because it is double sided. So now I'm looking at what I wanted to show. So it's got restricted wrecks, most popular wreck dives, infrequent wreck dives, rarely dived wrecks, and then like names and the story and the location and the year it sank. It's just filled with information, and I think I remember when I went to Dive Bermuda at Fairmont, Southampton last. This was down on the counter as like a placemat. So you when you were booking your trip at the counter, you saw this and it's got Bermuda Reef Creatures fish, um, just pure information on both sides. It's really really cool, and I typically have this on my wall. I use some of that sticky tack and I'll put a bunch on one side and just stick it up on the wall and have it as reference. So somebody that's new or old to the wreck diving space in Bermuda, if you have just this map in of itself and you study this, and then you've got Navionics boating on your phone, so you've got the you get the coordinates from like bermuda100.com, for example, you kind of unlock something really, really powerful. Um, by way of just knowing where the wrecks are and how to get to them. And whether you're with a dive shop boat or a private boat or even a rental boat, just getting out and being able to put your eyes on these wrecks would be really, really cool.
That's
And it makes me question, why there hasn't been something like a wreck fest in Bermuda.
Ooh,
Hint, hint. It's something that's being worked on actually, you guys. So just let the cat out of the bag. Something that was has been in the works for quite some time is facilitating an event that will put divers on at least 12 of Bermuda's most popular wrecks over the course of a couple of days.
I need
Um,
someone to be a test subject for that.
yeah, yeah, we need
I
we need to
will. I'm
test
so
that out.
I'll put my
So
I'll put myself out there for that
So
one.
you guys on the live, just give me a thumbs up or just give me some type of engagement, a yes in the comments, even if something like a rec fest is something that you'd be interested in. But I wanna just say real quick that an event like this would happen when the water's nice and warm. So we can have less lead. We won't need our wetsuits, but it will be a free diving and snorkeling focused trip because most of the wrecks that we find on the platform are actually quite shallow, and we can definitely put eyes on a number of wrecks without the need for scuba. So it's going to be sort of, and this isn't the name of it, you guys, and I don't want to let too much out, but it's going to be sort of a wellness. It's going to have a sort of wellness, yoga, free diving, and diving wrecks all
You
wrapped
guys,
into
I've
one. We're
already opened
talking,
up a new tab and bought a plane ticket. Like
oh
I'm
boy,
set.
we're talking lodging. We're all together. We all jump. We jump on two boats. I believe we were going to charter, and the mission is to get out and see as many wrecks as we can. So
That is so cool.
the working title is Wreck Fest, with free divers. So, boom. Yeah, when I JD, just you bring that up. I know when James Self was here, we did 50 wrecks. Was it 50 dives in 50 days? And I remember I was involved with that, and I know that many wrecks were part of 50 dives in 50 days. Wreck Fest, it's something that's going to have a little bit more of a twist. We'll certainly have Dr. Philippe Rouge involved, and yours truly, as far as I know, is the chairman of the Bermuda Historic Rex Authority. So got a little bit of leverage in there, um, being the chair again for 2022, and that's one of the ideas that I hope to bring to the board and the diving community to happen safely, but soon. But it's definitely something that's been in the works for quite a while. So thank you for the last few minutes for talking about that. This
Yeah.
map should be available from Brown and Co. It's covered in pure data. I mentioned the Navionics boating app. Everyone who's on the water, whether you have a boat or not, should have Navionics on their phone. Back in the day, you needed a Garmin handheld GPS to mark your spots and all that stuff. Well, your phone is a GPS now, if you didn't already know. And you can
We're just
subscribe
giving
to.
away free advice, guys.
This is jams. This is what this show is all about. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? And Monica messaged me, and then I put the phone down. I'm just gonna bring up the app, but that wreck Jess, that you mentioned. That's really cool. I don't think of there's shipwrecks in the Gulf. There's got
Oh
definitely
yeah.
shipwrecks in the Gulf.
Oh yeah, it's just a lot of they're not like big diving attractions, like natural or not natural, but wrecks that happen naturally. Most of those aren't are like diving destinations. So our big diving destinations are these artificial reefs, these purposely sunken wrecks.
Okay.
So it's not saying that there aren't wrecks in the Gulf because there definitely are. We have hurricane seasons and all sorts of different stuff. But yeah, the big popular ones are were purposely put there. And I
Well,
forget. Oh, go on.
no, I don't. I just wanted to highlight. Yeah, sorry, just going back on the comments. The regiment did something like a rec fest a few years back. Yeah, it was 50 dives in 50 days. Magic certainly they didn't do 50 recs, but I know many of them were recs, and I know I did. I hosted a co-hosted a lot of the shore diving stuff. It'll be great to get Major Dwight Robinson on a call, and he can talk about that because like this was just to bring it into context for you guys because this was a few years now. The Bermuda Regiment celebrated its anniversary. I don't know what year, but the Royal Bermuda Regiment had the Bermuda Regiment Underwater Task Force, which is basically just a group of elite divers and led by James Self. I don't remember what his rank was, but it was wonderful having Major Self involved in the diving community, bringing the regiment sort of in the front line of diving as a group and as an organized entity. And he had the idea. He reached out to me early on, and he was like, "Yeah, do you think we could do 50 dives in 50 days?" And I was like, I think so. If you have if you got good weather and you're committed, it's certainly possible. So we did partner up for a bunch of shore dives, and I know he probably went out. The group went out representing the Royal Bermuda Regiment on many of the local dive shop outings, and I know they covered a lot of ground because that is quite a lot of dives um, to get under your belt. And I think what they did is they didn't necessarily I don't know how it worked. Like they didn't necessarily dive every single day consecutively, but they definitely got in 50 dives in that 50-day window. Be great to
That's a
have a
pretty
brief
awesome
of that.
challenge.
Sorry?
I said that's a pretty awesome challenge to do
It was
that.
wicked. It was wicked. Nice. Nesta, just I'll just speak it because of course the idea is to ultimately port this into a podcast one day so people can't read the podcast. But Nesta shares a comment. He says, I've still had that map from when I was a young boy. Detailed and very helpful. Wreckfest sounds great. Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do something different in the diving space. So if it's not me, it's as long as somebody we just need more leaders in the community that can do events like this to help bring us together. And yeah, now might not be the best time with everything that's going on around us, but at least start to plan it, build a team, flesh it out, get the perspectives together, budget, funding, sponsorship, and all that stuff. It takes, I don't know, Jess. I mean, I think typically it's about 10 months of planning can go into organizing something big because the people that you want to attend, you want to have people fly in and come from overseas, and typically divers plan like a year out for stuff. So you can't announce something like this like 3 months out and not give people ample time to plan, prepare, and budget. And certainly, if it's free diving only, you're going to have people that may want to even take classes, train, buy new gear, maybe
Yeah,
some
get
new
prepped
carbon
for this.
fiber fins. I don't know. They may not want to use their scuba fins to free dive. They may not want to use their
Maybe,
scuba
maybe
suit to
not.
free dive. Maybe. I don't know. I got mixed answers from when I was poking at people on Instagram stories talking about what's the thing, Jess? What were we doing? We were talking about
We were talking
crossing gear over, right?
yeah, between free diving and scuba diving. So
Oh
where
boy.
the overlap is and how some things people don't like to mix and mingle with that. Some people do. Hey, it's a
Bit of a
mixed
can
bucket.
it's a bit of a can of worms, and what I'll say is, just because you can doesn't mean you should, but I think in most cases it's okay. And I didn't really like circle back with the whole big thing with it, but certainly you can scuba dive with free diving fins. I've seen it before. We saw it on the
Some people
fling.
Perfect.
We
Yeah.
saw Alex covering ground. He needed pure speed in his free diving, long free diving fins on scuba. He wasn't trying to helicopter kick and back kick and all the cool things that you can do with your jet fins that are purposely built for scuba. I've seen people scuba dive in free dive masks. I've seen people scuba dive in free diving wetsuits and vice versa. Ultimately, um, there comes a point when maybe you want to level up in one of the disciplines specifically, and yeah, there's kit that's purposefully built for streamlining, low volume, maximum efficiency, things of that nature. So yeah, when I do see someone uh free diving in heavy scuba diving fins, I'm like, wow, if you had carbon fiber fins, you'd have a lot better performance, but that's $500 that you probably don't want to
Yeah.
spend right
Well, and that's,
now.
sometimes it's better to get out there and try something and see if you
Yep,
like it before you go in and invest in all of that. So if you already
100%,
had a pair of fins,
100%.
and then you can go and give it a try, and then you're like, okay, this is something, and I do want to get that like extra oomph. I want to get that extra performance out of it. Then it's worth it to cross over, and vice versa. Like if you're going from free diving into to scuba diving. There's certain things that you can definitely bring over, and later on it might be you might find yourself out the flower gardens and realize like, oh hey, I need a pair of fins that can like get me through this current. I need a stiffer fin,
I need more
because
power.
we
Yeah.
need sometimes we get some wicked current out there, but other times it's beautiful. Well, I had something I wanted to share with you guys. I'm really excited
What's that?
about. So we're talking about events.
Mhm.
We have a local event. So for all my local Texans, for anyone who's going to be in Texas this weekend, in the Galveston area, we are going to be having an event that the Brazoria County puts on every year. It's called Dunes Day. And so this ties into us talking about sargassum, because sargassum helps re-nourish our beaches here. And Dunes Day is a way for us to help re-nourish our natural dunes. Every year in January, they do it. So they collect Christmas trees, natural live Christmas trees. After Christmas, everyone's undecorated them. They haven't been flocked or anything like that. You can donate them. So instead of them getting turned into mulch or going to the landfill, you donate them to the county. They have a whole bunch of drop-off spots around the entire county. And on Saturday, the I don't want to lie to you guys. I think it's the 15th. Yeah. So Saturday the 15th at 9 a.m., we are meeting at Stallman Park. That is where the sign-ins and the waivers are going to be. I think you guys get there a little bit before 9, so that way you can be heading out to your assigned area. And they are going to be assigning different sections of the beach. And at each section, there's going to be a pile of Christmas trees. And what we do is we line them. Oh, sorry, guys. We line them up. In kind of a diagonal line to the shore, and we stake them down. We tie them together and we stake them down. And what that does is it acts as like a natural fencing or barrier, where the sand, the windblown sand, is going to get collected in those branches of the Christmas trees. And as they decompose, they start to go away. It helps the sand dunes build up, and it also helps the uh, the natural plants that grow on top of the sand dunes actually be able to take hold, and that's what really helps hold the dunes together, is the natural plants that grow on top of it. So once we kind of get that area back up, so every year when we have our hurricanes, a lot of times we'll especially when we have like really big storm surge, it pulls a lot of that sand away from the beach, and it pulls a lot of the dunes, and the dunes are really important to helping protect everyone who lives behind the dunes. So whether you live right behind them or miles and miles up the road, these dunes are incredibly important to protecting both the natural habitat and also important things to us like our homes. And so we are going to be giving back. Also, it's great if you said that you wanted to work out as one of your New Year's resolutions, because it's a good workout, and it's a really fun community event. And actually, I have some fun pictures. Let me see if I can share these with you guys. I have some fun pictures of last year. So let me find the right window here. All right. So so they already have like the pile of Christmas trees out there. And you can see these are all natural Christmas trees, no plastic ones or anything like that. Only natural ones that have been undecorated and not flagged. And we line them up. So that's me. It was very cold last year. I was bundled up. and then afterwards, so you can see they're in these lines, and they're not exactly perpendicular to the water. They're a little bit of a slant at a diagonal, and so that's going to help. This is the area where it's very flat, but this is the area where there were dunes, and so this is going to help collect that sand. It's going to help gather that sand so that the plants that live on top of the dunes can kind of help their roots come down, and it holds the sand into place. And then, oh, there we go. This gives you guys a little bit better idea of what it is that we're doing. So we're lining them up like this. This is the direction that the winds blow out here most of the time, and so it's going to be pushing that sand up against these trees. The trees are going to capture it, and then that's going to help rebuild these dunes. So you can see right here, this is a big washout. That's what we call a washout area. So you can see all this natural vegetation. You can see where it's kind of splotchy right here, and then here there's like a big circle. Where it's just sand with no plants on it, and that's the area that got washed out during a storm. So it's really important to try to help keep our habitat as healthy as possible. And so if anyone's here, if you guys are interested in being in the same section of beach that I'm assigned to, I'm going to be meeting everyone there around like 8:45. Send me a text message or a DM. You can find me at Diving with Jess in both Instagram and Facebook. And let me know that you're coming, and we'll meet up in the parking lot, and that way we can get assigned to the same section. We can go help rebuild some dunes. Right. Let's see. I'm going to stop.
Wicked.
It's a lot of fun.
So be nice to come over and do so. That's cool. I know when Jessica was talking about the dunes, I was like, dunes? Dunes? What's a dune? Now I know what a dune is, and that's cool. That is really
Yep.
cool.
And I forget, and like not everywhere that has oceans have dunes. Like sometimes
No,
people
no,
have
no.
sandy beaches with no natural sand dunes behind them,
We just got
because it
rocks.
depends on what. Yeah, if you have rocks or you have a road right there, and we don't have dunes everywhere. So in Galveston, a large portion of Galveston actually just has a seawall. So and that seawall was built to help protect the island from hurricanes and from
Okay.
storm surge. But that's what dunes do, and that's what sand dunes do in areas where they don't, because sand dunes can't really build right there because the storm surge hits the wall and pulls it back, so they're not able to form. But in areas where there aren't large man-made
I see.
material, these dunes are there, and they protect everything that's behind it.
Okay. That's interesting. I want to segue real quick into three quick things before I mean, we've been on the live for an hour and 18 minutes. We got over 100 people tuned in. We got some cool reactions. We got some great comments from the team. I wanted to ask Kayla if she's still on the live, if Kayla free dives or scuba dives or snorkels, and what is her preference. But one of the things that really intrigues the local diving community around this time of year, from now right through till like April, May, is the migrating humpbacks. So I've discovered and realized that Monica and Rafael are back on the island. They're getting ready for whale season, and I wanted to share just a couple of pictures. First of all, if you don't already follow Monica on mon.zaj on Instagram. Here's a photograph of Rafal, I believe, diving with a wild dolphin. The dolphins tend to move around with the humpbacks, which is pretty dope. And if I just close this out, and this should play a video of this lucky devil swimming, free diving with humpbacks. So if you weren't incentivized to snorkel and free dive, you may want to now. I believe Rafael may have upgraded his fins to some carbon fibers. I need to do the same, but either way, he's out there, and we weren't, and they had a wonderful day. I remember it actually. Some of the media that they shot made it into the front page of the Bermuda Daily paper, which is pretty wild. It is a life changing experience, and shout out to Monica, who has a phenomenal page. It is a life changing experience swimming with whales. I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was with Chris Burville and Choya Ming, and we did a whole bunch of different things in that season. I think it was 2014 or so. We were swimming with sharks and dolphins and whales. It was just crazy. So if you have the opportunity, the timing, and the privilege of that happening, do it if you can. So that was the first bit. Second is there's a wonderful book. So this bookshelf that you see behind me isn't like a fake thing. Like some people like, oh, you got fake books. You're trying to look some way. I was like, nah, it's a real bookshelf. And when Jessica was full screen, I just reached for this book by Gordon Payne Watts Jr. I met Gordon when he was here in Bermuda a few years ago. If you go to the National Museum, that National Museum has a wonderful shipwreck section. Tons of really really cool stuff. But this book is just full of information around shipwrecks, Bermuda's rich maritime heritage. Plus, behind me as well, I've got Teddy Tucker's book entitled Treasured A Diver's Life, plus books from Billy Gillies, Sea Lab, just pure books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad for you guys that are into the finance bit. And third, and certainly not least, if you're a diver in the room, no matter where you are in the world, but certainly in Bermuda, and you don't have, let's wait for the contrast to kick in.
There it
Uh,
goes.
yeah, it took a second there, but boating, Navionics boating on your phone, you absolutely need this. I don't want to give away my mark spots for my lobsters, but this does so much really, really cool information. And there got to be a way for me to share this screen in the feed. So I got to figure out how to do that. But you can, when you're on a boat, you can track your route, your speed, you can put your latitude, longitude, you can work out all kinds of really cool stuff. But for me, it's really about um, knowing where to go and get around and putting pins down and being able to get back to those pins, as well as timing how long you've been on a particular track. And then you can save all that information and just have that data, which is really, really valuable too. So whether or not you're on a dive boat or your own boat or a rental boat or a private vessel, it's just great to have that data. So when someone's like, hey, I'm going to dive the dredger, let's rent a boat and go, you're not like, let me phone a friend and see if I can get the coordinates. You're like, no, we were just on the dredger. We dropped a pin. We know where it's at. It's just important to have that data. So a lot of history, especially around shipwrecks here and underwater archaeology. The Bermuda Underwater Exploration Institute has a wonderful museum of all kinds of artifacts and history and stories, plus a phenomenal shell collection by Mr. Lightborn, which is really, really dope too. What's this there? What's there? Navionics web app to put it on stream.
Like open
Of
it up in
course,
the
the
web
web app.
first. Yeah.
Man, I'm so used to the I'm so used to the phone. But yeah, they definitely got the web app. We'll bring that up in a second.
Hmm. Yeah, whenever while you're bringing that up,
No, no, sure, go
Kayla
ahead.
responded back to your question about whether she liked to snorkel, free dive, or scuba dive, and her answer was, "I've never actually been diving, but Jess has really piqued my interest in last year, so it's all right. Hanging out with
Boom.
divers is contagious, guys. You better. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and get more people in the water. So
We
you
need more
show up to
divers.
Kayla's based here in Texas. So if you show up to Doomsday, I'll bring you with me, or we go to do the shipwreck fest.
Yeah, Wreckfest. JD, I owe you one for reminding me about this web app. This is how I used to access it before I learned about the phone side. Um, but yeah, man, somebody went out there and mapped all the reef and all kinds of other bits and bobs, including the channel markers, um, all that stuff. I mean, it's wild. You guys are getting some jewels tonight. This is so dope. Another thing, what as a boater, um, is learning all the names of all the islands, Jess. So, um, I keep. Where are we? Where are we here? Old Boys Point, Bond Bay. So I keep my boat down here, pretty much right there in foot of the lane. So whenever I want to leave and go out, I gotta go along there, go past BUEI. I usually get fuel here. Got a little fuel spot. And then the Fairmont Southampton's over here. That's their marina. And then punch through Two Rock right here. and then we're pretty much in the Great Sounds. It's really cool. I think most Bermudians know about Paradise Lakes, which isn't really a lake; it's just a body of water, which is basically right here. But it's nice to know, yeah, 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 I'm on Iota Island, Hawkins, Nelly. So it's great. So this again, um, you know, it's great to have the knowledge. It's great to track and record the data, and this is just powerful. Because oftentimes, right, I'll shoot right across and go through Watford Bridge, and I'll end up out Kings Point. So people are like, where's Kings Point? I'm like, it's Kings Point. I had no idea. Kings Point here, and then these outer, middle, and inner islands. I think the middle one is the nice one. Um, but yeah, certainly once you start boating, and that could include owning your own or renting a boat from any one of our rental providers. Shout out to Bermuda Water Sports and H2O and Blue Hole Water Sports and KS Water Sports and all the other rental companies on the island. But there's access, and the cost is quite reasonable, especially if they offer a local rate. Get out on the water, safety first. Have this app available, or if you've got a, especially if you've got a tablet and you've got mobile data on your tablet, you're able to bring this stuff up and just learn. But yeah, Jess, this is, and for everybody really, this is what's up. This is that outer reef that many of the shipwrecks encountered while they're making their way to land, and then the platform, and then all our inshore water. So as soon as you get off the platform, you're in deep water off the south shore quite quickly. And then these are two underwater seamounts. Challenger Bank is about 12 nautical miles southwest, and then you've got Argus Bank, which is another 10 or so nautical miles away as well. So that's when we're talking about a long trip. This is a day trip to get to Argus and back. You're talking about a day out and back.
Very cool. That's
Uh,
awesome.
Challenger. Last time I was on Challenger was with on Chris Burville's boat, and I think it's like twin 300s. We flew. It was like 40 knots or something like that. So we got out there pretty quick. The day trip, guys. I think for those of you in the room, that's like a day trip on one of the dive boats. Um, because you're not going very quick. You've got a full complement of divers and stuff. And I know diving Argus Bank is a rare thing indeed. I've never done it. But I know with the Bermuda Sub Aqua Club, the leadership there, we're trying to get a dive in like once every 4 years. You need just the best conditions, and it's a logistic like challenge. I don't want to say nightmare, but it's just a logistic challenge getting one of the Newtons with a full complement of divers out to Argus and back. But yeah, Jess, this is, and again, shout out to you, JD. Powerful tool. Now, guys, I think Jess and I could hang out here for another hour, but I think we're gonna have to wrap the show.
That's all right. We have more time to talk about seaweed and shipwrecks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we could
Episodes
always.
2 through 10.
Yep. If you guys have any ideas or of for topics that you love us to talk about going forward for the next few episodes, let us know. We're happy to continue with seaweed or shipwrecks. If you'd love to be a guest on the show, that's an option. As always, the door is open. I'm gonna be busy replacing my the picture I used on all the assets, but if you have any questions for us, you guys, now's the time to ask because we are about to wrap up the show. Just thank you so much. We do this for you guys, but we're here to learn from you guys too. I learned something from JD all the time. JD, if you want to jump back on the show, we'd love to have you back on as a guest to talk about all the wonderful work you do. JD is part of the Bermuda Coast Guard, among other things. Another ocean hero out here doing wonderful work and representing the community well. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I got tonight, you guys. We kind of the low surface level vibes.
Yeah. Little shallow dive before a deep dive.
Yeah, low shallow dive. Um, but yeah, definitely. It's a lot going on both here and in the Gulf. Dwayne, hey, Mr. Robinson, hey bro, you inspired me to go swimming on Christmas Day. Yes, I. That's big. I did not. Good for you, bro. I did not get in on Christmas Day. But it was a gorgeous day. Oh my goodness, it was such a beautiful Bermuda day on Christmas Day. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Yeah. Jess, I'd love to talk more at some point in an episode just about again the we talked about this on one of the special episodes about just the medicinal and therapeutic side of being out in nature and just being in on or under or even looking at the ocean. I think mental health right now is a real thing. I'm
Yeah,
facing my own challenges out here. So what you guys see, hey, it's it's a one day at a time thing out here, you guys, for real. And certainly having this show and bringing this to you guys is something I look forward to all the time. This is like I gotta get home to do this live show with Jess to hang out with you guys, and then just being near the water and on the water floating around. It's such a good thing. Uh, it was
absolutely.
spectacular. Yeah. So yeah, Jess, that's all I got right now, really, Well, that's a
Okay.
lot. That's a lie. That's all I want to give right now, I guess. But, you know, it's access is a big thing,
Hmm.
breaking down any physical, mental, real or imagined barriers to getting into the ocean,
Yeah,
something we want to encourage and Dwayne, you got in on Christmas down here. It was just such a beautiful day. And I got my StreamYard hoodie on, not just to rep StreamYard, but it was cold today. It's like in the high 50s. Um, but when the sun broke through the clouds, it was just beautiful. The sun shining down on your skin. So
yeah. There's
yeah,
there's so many perks that you can get from being in and around the water, and just remembering like yeah the ocean isn't for one particular group of people, the ocean's for everyone, and that's what is part of what makes it so beautiful. So getting out there, enjoying it, it's this beautiful natural resource, and I think the more people who enjoy it and see it, the more people who want to help protect it and keep it as healthy and natural as possible. So it's one of those things of enjoying the resources that we have so we can truly appreciate them and share them with other people, share them with the people we care about, which is why Wilt and I are showing up here every week for the next 10 weeks. It's because we want to share this with you guys.
yep,
So thank you so much for coming out for episode 1 of season 2. This has been fantastic. Let us know what you guys wanted to hear about. We're going to have a fun, different topic for each week. We're going to be bringing some cool people in to come and talk to you guys. And yeah, let us know.
yeah, definitely have some cool guests lined up. Yeah, definitely more information to share. And what we also might do, you guys, is nice to have not necessarily show notes, but definitely in the description when this goes to Facebook and YouTube. Just I've shared some links to what we did. We did the Sargasso Sea Commission. We did Bermuda 100. We got the Navionics web app. It's great if there were these links easily accessible for you guys to get access to. So a
Yeah.
little
And
post
info for
show.
Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday. Yep, the link to Doomsday as well. Just so that it's just easy for you to get to this information versus watching the entire replay again, which wouldn't hurt at all, but just be helpful to have those links. So to all 81 of you that are still on the live, salute to you guys. Thank you so much for your viewership. And if you're listening to this, thank you so much for hanging out and for listening to what we have to share. But we're doing this for you guys as well as we're learning. We're lifelong learners and appreciate you wholeheartedly. And till next week.
Yes, we'll see you guys next week. Same place, same time.
Right, yeah.
Uh, it's going to be exciting.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. We are gone.